Okay, so I'm back with a shorter video here on Adobe Express. It is broadly the same as Canva. If you can work in Canva, you can work in Adobe Express. There are some differences between it. Some are very useful and productive, some are a little bit annoying, so I'll go through those. So just like we did in Canva, press the plus icon there to create something new. We want a custom size, or you could just go straight for landscape there, so that's the right size, but let's just stick with the same. We want 1920 by 1080 and create new file. So we have our blank slate to work with there. Now, as I said about Adobe Express, with the full license, you can create a brand. So I've created a brand that I can share with you. So in the brand, we've got all the SCTU bits and pieces. We have the different logos, we've got the different colors, and we've got the different fonts. So they can just easily be applied. How does that work? So let me see. Right, so say I want to edit the page. I want to change the background color. So you see it's just slightly different. You do it over here. Click on color. Sometimes this is hidden up at the top. So if it is hidden, if it just says in use, little drop down menu there, brands and libraries. So now we've got the DSES color palette along here. So I don't know, maybe I want the back to be light blue like that. And then I might want to add some text to it. Add my text, and I'll put in my module name. Again, I can go to the edit the font, and I can go to my DSES font, DM sans bold, and it'll automatically do it. And then I can change the color using the palette, and make it whatever color you want it to be. You can also add your content. You can add icons. You can add bits and pieces to it. This is where it is slightly different. So let's just say I want to add a running icon. It'll bring up all the icons. Don't know why the search is so slow. Icons are down here, so it'll bring up all the running ones, and you'll see that they're all free. We don't have to pay for any of them because we've got the license here. So all of these are there. So there's loads more. So let's go for this fancy fella on the treadmill. Move it over, make it white to be in keeping, or whatever, we could make it purple if we wanted, and we could make the writing purple, because I'm all about individuality here. Do it your way. So we've done what we want. We've got our module name, we've got our logo, and we can get them nice and centered on our screen. So we've got our good border around the edge, so if it resizes, it'll cut the sides or the top and bottom off, and it'll keep the content nice and clear in the middle. Now on Adobe Express, on Canva, I showed you how to add in the U shape that is again in keeping with the SE2 brand. This is one of the annoying things. For some reason, if you go to add content elements, and we want to add a shape, sorry, get rid of that, the search there. It doesn't have a standard U shape. And I know this one here, but this one's not quite right. That you can't color. It's just a border with a hollow inside. It doesn't have a middle part to it, so that's not right. But I figured a workaround, and the workaround is to add content, add a square. Pop it there for a second, and then add content, and we add one of these semicircles. And if we turn the semicircle around, and if we do line it up and resize so that they're both the same size there, you can zoom in and have a look that they're just right like that. And then you can group the two of them together, and they'll behave as one. So if you just take the border off, no border, we've got the shape. Okay, so it's a little bit of a workaround there to get your shape. So I could make that white and move it over, give it an L resize, send it backwards, move over my name, and put them there. And we've done the exact same thing, and it's just a little workaround there. The other thing I showed you was how to put in a frame, and again, just kind of annoyingly in Adobe Express, it doesn't have the same. I like those frames that they have in Canva where you can just drag and drop the photo onto it and it'll make it the shape you want. But this Adobe Express does have some extra useful things for photographs. So let's take this photograph of me again and I'll drag it onto the image there. And just for argument's sake, I might want to use that. But what we can do here is we can edit the photograph. So what's really useful and I like is this remove background. This is a paid feature on Canva, but if I click remove background there in Adobe Express, boom, it's taken the background out really well, and it's just left me in the middle, or left you the bit, and the focus of the image in the middle. So that's actually really useful if you're doing other bits and pieces for social media and stuff like that. That's a really useful tool. If I go back to the full photograph, then it's because it doesn't have those shaped frames. What you can do is you can go to crop up here and you can crop it to a shape. So I could go for diamonds and it'll crop the photograph into a shape like that. It's fine. It's not quite as versatile as the other one, and if we it works with the whole photograph, but if I have cropped it to a frame, it doesn't quite work as well. Can I edit the frame? I don't really use these frames very much for Xanimate. I don't know whether I can change I can't change the background color within the frame or anything like that. But anyway, that's kind of useful. You can edit your photographs quite easily in this Adobe Express. So that is one of the versatile bits of it. But if you just want to go back to something bog standard like that, you can equally create it in Adobe Express just with a teensy tiny workaround.